Greetings and welcome. Appreciate you guys tuning in for episode 8 of RPMMORadio, Super Critical. I'll be one of your hosts, Asin Phoenix, and of course with me as always is my sister from another mister, Jazz.
Nice try.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hi.
there you go. And of course my lovely wife, Sib.
Hello.
She is not my sister from another mister because we don't live in Arkansas.
That would be creepy. That would be so creepy.
And that's incestuous and how you get cross-eyed babies. It's not good. So, hopefully we got a good show for you today. 8 episodes, so that means we've been doing this for math. 4 months. That'd be 4 months. Today we're going to talk about this, based on a conversation I actually had with one of the guilds about how we're super critical of our own work as role players, and sometimes that can be a good thing, but a lot of times it's our own worst enemy, and it's just not something we should be doing. Not to the extent that it kind of stunts your growth. So, before we get on to that, we got some other stuff. Of course, you visit our website at RPMMORadio.com. It's one of the best ways to find us, and you can always download the show after the fact on Instagram. Not Instagram. I got an Instagram thing here. But iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, blah, 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 blah. You get that stuff. One thing you may want to join us on, though, is Instagram, which we've started doing. Boy, what are you doing in here? We all have families. It's going to happen. It's all right. But join us on Instagram. I've been doing a lot of RP-related pictures and commentary and jokes. It's basically just jokes and reminders of our show and stuff like that. And it seems to have a pretty good reception. That's reception. We'll go with that. People seem to be enjoying that. Just basically any picture I find, I somehow am able to make it roleplay related and MMO related. But it's going rather well. Join us there. So that's all the plugging stuff, because the only way this gets better is if we have more people listening and more interaction with you, of course, our listeners. So,
which we are growing.
We are.
Growing.
It's
slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely.
And we had to do that, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Zootopia sloths were hysterical. That was probably the best part of that whole movie. So, yes, every time you can do a sloth impression, you do the sloth impression. Okay. So, what have we all been up to in game? I assume we're pretty much all playing ESO, because I know you two are early console players. That's pretty much all I think I've seen you guys playing. So what's up? What you been doing? We'll go with Jazz. Jazz, what are you up to?
Well, a lot of role play and focusing on role play in between work, which has been really hectic this week. I didn't feel very good, so I've been battling some kind of, I don't know. So it was between work and then coming in role playing, and I've been desperately trying to get my second character to max. So I've been leveling a lot. So that's really what I've kind of been focusing on, is role play, which is growing quickly, and I'm making new connections and building the role play stories around me, which is always fun. Mm-hmm. And then leveling. So really, that's it. And not killing my children.
It's all right. It happens. I know. we actually have a sign on our door that says if the doors are closed, we're recording live, and unless you're bleeding, dying, or being robbed, you do not enter. So, yeah. And even then, I expect one of these days that it's not going to work. So, it's just how it is with kids, especially teenagers. Mm-hmm. How about you, Sib? What you been up to, baby?
I've been doing basic random RP. I like to go to the Withered Tree and ESO and hang out, and honestly, you can meet just about anybody there. I know it's I've made several new friends there. I'm sure there's other places throughout ESO that you can do the same, but I've not learned them yet or don't know of any. But the Withered Tree is just a random tavern, so has horrible flute music. Mm-hmm. I'll just throw that out there. you can only listen to one round, and then you're like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
shutting that sucker down.
Yeah.
But no, I too have been super busy. We've got a 18-year-old getting ready to graduate, and our son plays competitive baseball, so I've just been trying to get online to RP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there's not a lack of it, I will tell you that. If you get online and you can find it.
Yeah, it's definitely not dying in ESO anytime soon. That's for sure.
No, it's all over.
Yeah, it's very strong, and I know for me personally, I've been interacting a lot on my for one of my first, I'd say, serious female characters. I've tried a few, but they never really take off. But Tarvala in the Servants of the Temple, and she's working her way up from a grunt, and as I've been informed, she is, quote, thick. Which was the point. She's supposed to be a big girl even for a dark elf, but it has been noticed apparently.
It's your storyline.
Yeah, she's as tall. She's maxed out. She's as tall as she can get. Her arms are as big as they can get. She's basically like a dark elf Amazonian, but that's why she went. That's why she didn't do well too as a clergy or a temple priestess. She was having a hard time with that, so turns out she's better with a blade. So that's what she's doing, and she's not doing too bad. It's been a lot of fun at the very least. Trying to. There's so much friggin' lore in that game. That's been the hard part.
There is. It is one of the. I mean, I haven't played a lot of them, but this one's lore is just.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's not just from ESO. It's also from the, was it the 5 other games of Elder Scrolls that also back up everything, and it's all the same world. Mm-hmm. So
just different timelines.
Yeah, just different periods along the timeline. But that's pretty much where I've been at. It's just role playing with that group. A lot of leveling. We're also going to be doing a thing. I did it once, and it was an utter disaster because I didn't have stuff set up right. But try to do a Mystery Science 33,000 telling of the quests that I've already gone through on my previous character, and so I don't really need to listen to it, but I was basically mocking them the entire way through. Unfortunately, when I was doing that, I also did not have the sound set to come through for the game. So it was basically just me talking randomly every now and again with nobody able to hear what the NPCs were saying. They could read it, but that's not exactly fun. So I'm going to try that again. And it was actually kind of fun. It's just so silly, some of the things the NPCs and the way they try to get you as some random person they've never met to help them. So it'll be fun. Look for that. If you see the message come up on a day other than every 2 weeks, that's probably what I'm going to do, and probably get you guys to come along if I can convince somebody to do that.
I have to throw this jab out there. Ashen, if you guys haven't realized this yet, loves to talk. He just loves to talk.
I'll be honest, I would be doing this. I work with
him, and he loves to talk.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that I actually have 2 hostesses is just a convenience, because and the fact that people actually listen to the show also just a convenience. I'd still be doing this regardless. I actually just do it. Funny enough, before we recorded it, I was just sitting here talking at my screen. Yeah. For years on end. It was really crazy. But anyway, so that's what we've all been up to. If you guys out there have anything you'd like to bounce off of us or anything like that, plenty of places. Hit us up on Discord or send us an email. We're always looking to interact with the audience. So from here on, we'll go ahead and hit our news stories, which was there was some stuff, but a lot of it, like Jez doesn't have one because it was kind of a lot of the same stuff that we already know of. So we'll go ahead. We got one at Sibs is actually kind of aggravating, but we'll let her go first. What you got, Sib?
Okay, I'm just gonna read this, but headline is Rift's Starfall Prophecy name change was provoked by a trademark lawsuit, and it's kind of old. It was May 12th, and Bree Royce was the writer. And
You realize May 12th was yesterday, right?
Oh my gosh. No, I tell you, I'm just lost. So it's not old, it's like a day old.
How old were you on May 12th, everybody?
I don't know
yesterday.
where I am right now. Feel sorry for me, okay?
That's all right. I had to point that out. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, thank you, because
Long ago on May 12th. What is... Isn't today
I
the
was thinking
13th?
April 12th. Okay,
Oh.
anyway, let's get on with my news story.
Go ahead.
I don't think I can get through it now. Okay, it says, if you're a little bit puzzled by Trion's announcement this week that it was changing the name of Rift's latest expansion from Starfall Prophecy to Prophecy of Enket, which I'm hoping I
yeah. I think
that
it's like
I'm
some
pronouncing it
Egyptian
right.
sounding Enket.
It does.
Yeah.
But because it had, it's doing the change because it had recently become oh, sorry. I just flubbed. Thanks. Okay. Because it had recently became acquainted with a children's charity called Starfall. So it turned out there was more to the story. Massively OP trickster Cloud dug up a lawsuit that shed light on what happened behind the scenes. The trademark lawsuit, Starfall Education Foundation versus Tryon Worlds Incorporated, was filed in Colorado District Court back in March, but was apparently settled out of court at the tail end of April. Connecting the dots, one might assume Tryon had been sued over the name and decided to change it as part of the settlement agreement. In a decision that wasn't quite as amiable as the producer's letter implied. I went blank. Oh, this is just a horrible story, but I'll get through it. Not the story, but me doing it. Anyway, we reached out to Tryon's PR, I guess, yesterday to ask whether it wished to amend its statement about the motivation behind the decision. In particular, we asked whether the trademark was checked prior to the Starfall launch, whether Tryon believed it might have prevailed had it not settled, whether the free giveaway of the expansion was part of the settlement or merely a marketing move, and why. If Tryon was prepared to change the name, an agreement wasn't reached prior to the filing of a lawsuit. Well, that was indeed how we became acquainted, Tryon Scott Hartman told us. Sure, a phone call would have worked too, but they're good people doing good work, and I felt this was the right thing to do. This weekend's promo was already scheduled. Our changing the name just gave it an easy theme. Everyone wins. Either way, at least players can rest easy knowing that Tryon had a really good reason for changing a live expansion name and isn't just high on Pop Rocks or something. Now, whether we're worried about the freebie promotion, whether you're worried about the freebie promotion of the expansion, that's something else entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
no, and I can understand. It's, you can't fault the cause, though. Oh, sorry. Starfall Education Foundation. I mean.
Yeah, it's still stupid, though. Just because something uses part of the same word, am I going to get sued because should I sue the Starfall Education Prophecy because my character Lita Starfall back from EverQuest used the thing of Starfall? It's not exactly an original putting together of two words.
They can't possibly. That name is not new.
I have
and there are
feeling that
thousands of them.
They just didn't want to fight it. Probably.
Yeah, I mean that's probably true. But they did that on purpose to. I mean, that really is so petty.
Starfall. It's what they do. It's called a meteorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought.
And there's like a song called Starfall or an album. Excuse me. I mean, there's absolutely no way they could have won that suit.
No, if somebody fights them on it, they're gonna lose, and they're gonna lose hard because you can't. That's like it's like copywriting, a single word, that everybody uses, and then going after and suing everybody that does it.
Yeah, but if you think about it, if they fight it, it's going to look bad on them. Nobody needs negative press.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it right.
No,
still,
it doesn't.
They still, the fact is the company doesn't look any better now. I wouldn't give to them because the educational thing, because they went and sued a video game company just for using a word that describes what meteorites do out of the sky in space. It's just stupid.
Oh, and that story can be found on Massively Overpowered. I wanted to throw that out there. Yeah. But it went on to say there was also another somebody sued Microsoft over the name Mythica. So, and it too had the same settlement. So,
it's companies don't want to get a black eye over it, but at the same time they're giving in to essentially terrorist tactics.
Yeah,
and that's just it's a terrible
form of
absolutely terrible precedent.
Yeah,
being set.
I know there's
how much they settled for that.
They probably didn't settle for anything. I bet you it was probably just to change the name. Yeah, because they can't do anything. But I know there's a guy out there that has been. I don't know. Don't ask me why I know this, but the anybody that in anything they might use for TV shows and things like that uses just the lowercase typed G, he has supposedly copywritten this, and anytime anybody uses it, he tries to go after them. And if, after so long, if nobody actually fights him on this, and this was years ago when I found out this, so if nobody fought him on it and he lost by now, he probably has the copyright rights to the lowercase G on a typewriter. And it's just one of those stupid things. It's just law is so freaking dumb anymore. That's what happens when you start doing case law all the time and stop doing just common sense. But that's beside the point.
And I have to apologize for my reading. I get one little fluster and then I just go downhill from there.
We'll work on it from here on. Yeah, we got Hooked on Phonics on its way.
I know, right? I need it.
Stop.
So before you know it, she'll be saying things like Pahonics. Because ironically, Hooked on Phonics isn't actually said the way it should be if you listen to Hooked on Phonics. So, all right. So I'll hit my story up here, which actually I was brought to my attention by one of our listeners, Circe, who we've mentioned before. And it's originally called the Wild West MMO, which of course takes place in space. No, just kidding. It takes place in like the 1800s in the Wild West. There's not a ton of information on it just yet because it's kind of out there, but it's kind of not. There's going to be a Kickstarter for it, and this comes from PCGamer.com, and I've seen it at a few other places as well because it's kind of a big deal. Nobody's really done a Western style MMO. It's nice to see something, even if it may not be exactly my style, given that there's going to be lots of PvP stuff and things in it too, just to be getting away from sorcery and fantasy stuff and all that. It's nice to try something new every now and then, which like the Secret World tried but didn't do as well as I would have liked. But at least they tried, and it was enough to get money from me, But I will say, when I saw the pictures of this, I actually thought it was from Red Dead Redemption 2, which there's a reason for that. Apparently, they've modeled that after that game. Red Dead Redemption is, of course, by Rockstar, which is a huge, huge open world game. They're the same guys that do Grand Theft Auto, and all those games. Bully. They're a huge AAA studio. I think, like, their Grand Theft Auto 5 game, it came out over 5 years ago now, and it is still on the top seller list because of all the stuff they've done to it. So this Wild West one is, let's see, where's this? They're going to launch, they're expecting to do a Kickstarter. They're wanting to hit 250,000 and it's going to start at the end of the month. I don't have an exact day here. But they've already been working on the core version of the game. It's anticipated to arrive later this year, regardless of the Kickstarter or not. So basically, the game's coming, but the Kickstarter is basically to give it a lot more polish than they can afford to do right now, because they are kind of hit earphones. They're kind of an indie studio, and it is an MMO, but it's not typical of the questing and grinding. It's a seamless open world using server shards. However everyone uses that term these days, but I'm not really sure how they mean it. In this case, supposedly it'll be where a few hundred players will coexist and die together, because there's going to be apparently the main form of combat is PvP. So it just depends on how they do that. So they'll have they'll have a bad guy system, and they'll have good guys. And of course, if you start robbing things, it won't be NPCs, that will come at you in the town. It'll actually be other players when you get bounties on your heads, and people that are bounty hunters or sheriffs and the like will be able to go after you. But so far, just the pictures that they've released, more information should be coming in a couple days on it. It looks like it's a really good looking game, especially for a smaller studio. It's 612 Games, the studio is, and it looks kind of cool. I'm looking forward to seeing. I don't know how much roleplay there may be given its PvP roots, but it certainly would be worth a try. I'll probably throw whatever the minimum to get the game when it comes out for the Kickstarter is. And of course they have, what was it, the stretch goal at 400,000. They'll include women as playable characters, because without it's the Old West. We need whores. I mean, there's gotta have what
Here we go.
What?
Here we
What?
go.
Hey,
Smack him. You're right there. Smack him.
Circe's the one that put
He's
the thing
across
up
the
about
room.
how prostitutes settled the Wild West, so you can blame Circe for that. Yeah, you can blame her for that. Apparently without prostitutes, because before that it was just work camps, and it turns out the women made more money than men being prostitutes. So that's how the Wild West was settled. You're welcome. There's a history lesson. Thanks to one of our listeners. Oldest profession. As everyone says, it's the oldest profession on earth, and you could make pretty good money. Not suggesting it, though. So, yeah, I'm just kind of cool to looking through the pictures again. It looks really neat. But that's... the
pictures did look really neat.
Yeah.
And I hope they bring in women, and I hope they bring in, I'm curious if they'll bring in, Native Americans.
Yeah, that was my first thought. I was kind of glad to hear.
It's like cowboys and Indians.
The PvP will be against other players, so it'll be a bunch of white guys killing each other. Because my first thought was, if it's a traditional MMO and they just have Indians as spawning NPCs that you just go out and slaughter, that's
not going to go over well.
That's going to go over fantastic in the Snowflake era of 2017. Yeah, no, even I know that would be probably not well received.
You think?
Yeah. Andrew Jackson, is that you? I would actually have to, if there were something like that, I would name my character Andrew Jackson. For those that don't know, he's the reason we had the Trail of Tears, because he hated Indians and was a racist bastard.
Yes, he was.
And we honor him by giving him the $20 bill. Shit, that was probably a mistake. History. It's full of assholes. So, all right. Before we go here into our main topic, we, of course, have a word from our sponsor. Hello, this is Horace Van Morris Galoris, the 42nd, here for the Noble-Only Gentlemen's Club, the most exclusive gentlemen's club in all the worlds. How exclusive, you might ask? Well, I'm glad you did. Why, it's the only club with such events as throwing bricks at the hobo and build a money fort of actual money. We have nothing but the best of liquors, most expensive cigars, hand-rolled by the poorest of children. Their desperation really brings out the flavor. We talk about the surplus population, how to cull it, and of course, our latest LAHH event, or as we like to call it, the live-action human hunt. Oh, now, it's not what it sounds like, of course. See, we're so rich, what we do is we hunt human beings for sport. You wouldn't understand, of course. You're not rich enough to get away with it like we can. Yes, quite. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if my woman wants to come? Are there rules against such a thing? And to that I answer, of course. Our gentlemen's club is in fact so exclusive we only allow gentlemen. No woman has ever set foot within our hallowed halls. Ugh, perish the thought. Indeed, we talk of truly manly things of interest such as tax rates, tax cuts, and of course, world domination. One day. So, if you are wealthy enough to join the Nobles Only Gentlemen Club, chances are you're already a member. In fact, we don't actually accept people like, well, you. Yes, no, you're not going to get in. You've no chance of ever even seeing the place, let alone entering. No, we just ran the advertisement here so you would know and appreciate how much better we are than you. Because we are. Now, the Noble Only Gentlemen's Club. Because we're better than you. Hey, Lovey! Lovey! I just made the poor people think they could get in. Quaint. Yes, quite. I'm a hoot. Well, yeah, it sounds like a douchebag.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah. No.
I hope he paid cash, right?
Yeah. Oddly enough, he was throwing it at me. Apparently he thought I was a hobo.
I thought those were bricks he was supposed to throw at you.
Yeah, well, I guess because he owed me money, he was like, meow. Lover. It has nothing to do with the fact that I was talking about Gilligan's Island earlier today.
No,
So,
not at all.
No, nothing at all. Lover. So, on to our main topic, being super critical.
Super Saiyan critical. Sorry. Every time I hear super, I have to throw that in there.
I take her to one movie with of Dragon Ball, one of the Dragon Ball Z movies, and now everything that says super has to have Saiyan after it.
Yes, because it's awesome to say.
So proud.
You little girl's growing up.
Yes. But this is actually based on a conversation I had with somebody. They created a new little Bosmer character in ESO, and they were having a lot more fun with her than they thought they would. And of course, the guild that they did that in was the Temple Guild, which is pretty much a Dunmer only guild. But it was funny because someone asked what her idea was, and she went over it, and it was just fine. There was nothing wrong with it, but she was super shy about it. Oh, like almost a point of reluctance, and then she's like, I was like, that sounds perfectly fine. It sounds like a good idea. I mean, it's there was nothing wrong with it. But then she had made the comment about how she was glad to hear that because she wasn't sure, and or he. I actually can't tell. I don't know everybody in the game. It could have been a he, but the name said sounds like a she because I'm namist. Hey, if you put an A at the end of it, the chances are it's a chick. I can't help that. That's just one of those fantasy things. But she said
An A at the end? Really?
Yeah. Tarvala is an A. Yeah.
Yes, but that's mostly just the U.S.
Yeah, but it also works in a lot of fantasy stuff too.
You are a namist. Oh my
I
god.
am a namist.
I am married to a namist.
Yeah.
Heaven help us.
But you go through a few fantasy characters.
Just hand him the shovel
books.
and let him go.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Go through the Lord of the Rings
This
trilogy.
is one of those moments where he will not stop talking.
Yeah. Go through the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I'm gonna sit
And
here and eat
tell me how
popcorn.
many of the female characters end with an A. Yeah. And then you come back.
How about
But anyway,
Sasha? Sasha is a boy's name.
it is also girl's name, but you are talking not of fantasy, but of Mother Russia. Sasha is strong man's name. You do not badmouth the Sasha. You store fast there. That's actually not Russian at all. I don't know a single... Okay, I know Privet, which is hello, and Das Vodanya, which if you don't know, not seeing Deadpool, because that's all Colossus says when he says goodbye. Anyway, she was being super critical of what she had come up with, and she had mentioned that we're our own worst enemy when it comes to that, which is really true, because who doesn't, every time we make a character or something like that, we're always thinking, well, it's kind of stupid, you know? I mean, it's done before, it's not, you know, but for one, we got to do what's going to be fun for us. You can't worry about that. And two, as I can't even remember what, I think it was writing class back in like middle school, like 7th or 8th grade, there are no new ideas. You know, every trope, every idea has been done in pretty much every form of writing or movie in one way or another. Really, the only thing that changes is the combinations. You know, the story for Star Wars, you know, farm boy, you know, meets an old mentor, you know, mentor dies, farm boy moves on to save the whatever galaxy, you know, kingdom, is done over and over and over and over again. It's just the settings and the circumstances that change. And yet, we still continue to read and watch it all the time. So it's okay. It's all right if your idea is similar to other things and things, you know, but as long, the thing is you have to make sure you're having fun. If you're not having fun, then why are you even role-playing?
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
And also, you know, in the art community, one of the first things they tell you in art school is that if you're looking to make art that no one has ever made before, you may as well stop now, because there's nothing new under the sun. It all comes down to your enjoyment, your viewpoint, your perspective, and your skill. So do it. Don't worry if no one's done it before or if everyone's done it before, because maybe you'll do it and you'll put your own spin on it and it'll be great. So, and that applies really to writing, role play, art, really anything.
Anything creative, yeah.
Even not creative, but yeah, I mean, there is nothing really new. You just have to put your own spin on it and make a go at it. And if you're happy, that's all anybody can ask.
Yeah, like look at cars. I mean, cars have changed drastically over the last 100 years, but they still have 4 tires, an engine, windshield, which wasn't actually there at the beginning, but we'll skip over that. You know, axles, doors, all that stuff is still there. The only thing that's changed is the order and the style in which they do it. And that's pretty much exactly what we're doing here. I mean, we've all got the same stuff over and over and over. It's just a matter of how you design and you put it together for yourself. And you can't really worry over every little detail. You just have to make sure you're doing that. And I mean, I know I'm going to use Sib as an example here, because I've been cold, calloused, and uncaring for a long time. I think Jess probably has too. She's like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Nobody else likes it. Fuck them.
Well, when it comes to your own role play, it's almost necessary. I mean, as a guild leader, I had to, you know, because we had certain rules for the guild, and we had to tell people sometimes that's not going to work here because of X, Y, and Z. It doesn't fit lore or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I always told them, if this is what you want to do and this is what makes you happy, by all means, do it. You can't do it here because of the way that our guild is made, but that shouldn't stop you. And I think that's a very important message for people, is that your role play is yours. Even if you want to be a half Ixar, dark elf alien from Mars, if that's really what you want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll find a niche out there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Somebody out there will enjoy it and will participate.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, given we always go to the extreme example, 2 halflings stacked on top of each other, but that's, you know, a lot of this stuff is just you know, different flavors of the same thing. So, but when you're in the creative process of doing these kinds of things, sometimes you just have to get out of your own way. Or if you have somebody like I was getting to with Sib and I, bounce it off somebody you trust. You know, that's always important. You know, maybe don't always just go straight to, you know, there's a lot of great role play forums and things like that you can bounce those things off to. And a lot of times you will get really good feedback off of them. But if you don't know the people, you also they may not have the same mentality you do, and while the advice may be good, it may not be for you. So you have to, if you've got someone you trust for such a thing, it certainly doesn't hurt to bounce the ideas off of them or see what they think, and they'll give you constructive criticism and be nice. I know Sib and I have done that with each other several times, and Jazz as well. And
because I'm not as familiar with a lot of like just use Star Wars, the Old Republic. I know about the world and basics, but not a lot of the in-depth lore. So whenever I go to create a character, I'm always like, hey Ashton, what do you think about this? And I won't give even the whole rundown, but basically what ideas I can get away with and what I can't, what will work, but it's I mean, I don't want to create a character that's people are gonna shun.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. But and of course nobody wants to. But at the same time, you can't be so worried about it that you end up changing all these great things that you thought would be fun. You're like, well, what if so and so doesn't like that or this or that? You just gotta let it go. Get out of your way. Give it a try. I mean, that's the great thing about this is if you try something and it doesn't work, you can change it. You're not, it's not locked in. You're not not written in stone. Seriously, I don't know what a shungs is, but I've been like shunged.
Shungs. I was thinking hug and shun together.
All right, so.
But no, and that's why I do appreciate you, because you don't make me feel like my ideas are stupid. You are always like, yeah, go with it, Sounds cool. So that I do appreciate that.
No, we're gonna wing shung tonight. Yeah, I remember the song. Still don't know what they're talking about. I just heard the word wang and pretty much just go to dirty little places after that. So, yeah. But it is human nature too, just to be critical of our own work. I mean, and that is pretty much what all this is. Is just it's a kind of work, of literary work. But like I was saying, if something happens and it doesn't work out, maybe it creates conflicts. But conflicts build character. Like in this case, literally, they build your character. That's how they'll change and things like that. But there's nothing wrong with trying something new. Maybe and if it's just one of those weird things, I don't know. It's not easy just to be like the Bob Newhart. Well, stop it. But I'm afraid of being buried alive in a box. Well, stop it. It doesn't work as easy as that. I understand, but at the same time, you can't. You gotta keep going anyway. Otherwise, it's not gonna be any fun. Feel free to dig me out of the hole that I keep going in circles here, ladies. It's okay.
No, we're really just enjoying it. I have popcorn and everything.
Shut up. This is why nobody likes you.
Yeah, that's okay though. I'm perfectly okay with that.
But yeah, and we're making these characters mostly for us. A little bit for others as well, obviously. Otherwise, we're basically you're just writing a book at that point. So you have to have enough that you can interact with other people. But if there's something we don't like, we can change it. There's just a lot of trying not to. There's not really this one was difficult to even come up with a way to do it, because telling you really you're doing the Wang Chung video now, Jesus.
What?
Hey, you're doing a show, and my God, that guy is blonde. I never realized. For some reason, I always thought it was some dark-haired dude.
Nope. That's Wang Chung.
I just been rickrolled by Wang Chung. So, but anyway, and also there's a certain level too of being critical. It's not always a bad thing. The trick is, of course, moderating what you're doing If you're just flopping it all out there and just seeing what sticks to the wall, like you're cooking spaghetti, it's probably not going to get a whole lot except for a wet wall and some pretty nasty spaghetti. But being critical of your own work is what helps keep it solid and keep you up to a level of quality you should be happy with, because that is something that you need. If you're not happy with the quality of work, or you think you can do better, or in fact you can do better, maybe you should be a little critical, because you can go the opposite way as well. If you're either too critical or you're not critical enough and you just launching turds at the wall.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. We've all met characters where it's like, okay, maybe you should have been a little bit more critical of your idea. I'm just saying that, like, any thought at all would have been a good way to go.
It's really difficult. I mean, because you don't want to be an RPer. You don't want to be overly critical of other people's characters. But then, I don't know how to say it and be nice. But
Yeah.
You don't want to be an asshole about it and be like, your
character's terrible. Yeah, there's always those people that we've all met them. We can't all pretend that we're singing Kumbaya on holding hands, but the fact of the matter is just like people, there's people we don't like, just like in real life. You're going to meet, there's people at work you don't like, there's people in life you don't like, or that you don't get along with. And just like in roleplay, those people are playing this stuff too, and they're creating characters. And while whatever you might think of the character, you may just not like the person as well, and that makes you extra critical of them. So you should, you just avoid. That's just how things are. You're not going to like everybody. And of course, the people that may not like you or you don't like them, if they say something shitty about that, you got to brush that one off, because you guys just don't, your conflict of personality is just not going to allow it.
And I would say, if you don't like the person, don't role play with them, because that just, it just aggravates both sides. I mean, because, you're going to be crappy and then they're going to be crappy and nothing ever good comes from it.
Mm-hmm.
But, if it's somebody that, you like and their character is just kind of, I don't know, just work with them. You're there in the game to build a character. So, and have fun with it. Enjoy it. You spend your $15, but help them. Don't, if you do like the people, I mean, like I said, if you don't, just walk away, because nothing they do is going to get better.
Yeah. Well, and you could always, it's just like, in society, you can always be not like the person and be polite, but that doesn't mean if you're going to keep going along with them, you're, being critical works both ways, because you can be critical of other people's work as well, and that's just sort of human nature to discern, and it's not necessarily like a judgment, but there's a difference between judgment and discernment. It's a small one, but it's also an important one. You just decide that this person is, and what they do is not for you. Now, you can constantly bash on them or talk behind their back, which we all know does happen, because in a lot of ways, some roleplay things are a little bit like high school, and that's okay. It's just how people are. And also because tells are private, but just remember, you will mistell one day, and all will be revealed.
That's a scary thought right there.
It never ceases to amaze me, the ability of people to mistell, myself included.
Yep.
Happily, I've never mistelled some things, like talking about someone, but then again, I don't do that very often. So it makes sense that I wouldn't have a mistel. But of course, we've all had embarrassing mistells, myself included. Mine more than others. I think I was the queen of that for a while.
Yeah, whether it be a tell or a in guild, or something that was supposed to be in group and is now in say, or shouted across the zone server.
I've often wondered, Jazz, that you run guilds, okay? And I always wonder, I wonder how many people are sending her tells, at
Oh
like one
God.
sitting. I couldn't
That
imagine
is one
it.
thing.
I was like, I couldn't imagine being in her shoes.
Oh yeah, it's my husband used to sit once our offices were no longer close together and they were on the opposite sides of the house. He would come and sit with me when I would start to play a game because sometimes we wouldn't have much time to talk. He works 3 jobs, I work 2 jobs, and so he would take the time to talk to me whenever he could. And he would sit by me and I would log in and instantly tell. He was
Usually
like,
one of them was me, but I always
Yeah.
backed off when you like, hold on, I'm in tell hell. Be like, all right, let me
Yeah.
know when you're good.
That's a good one.
I would just get this slew of tells when I would log in. And my husband would be like, how do you get, because, I often 2-boxed, which meant that I had 2 accounts open at the same time,
Mhm.
often RPing with them in the same room as 2 different people. And he was like, how do you, and then he went, wait a minute, you're the Mistel Queen. It's starting to make sense.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like, seriously, that was the case, was because I had tells and group and guild and say
And
and
emotes. And a
and
lot of times
emotes.
she talks to herself when she does that, which
I
when
do.
you know that she's on those characters is, for me, it was always hysterical. Like she's having an argument with herself. She's a full-blown crazy person in that right, Sybil.
And that's fun because that's true. Sometimes people didn't always realize that
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 accounts. And so they didn't realize that some of my characters were me. They knew that my main was me. But they didn't always know that my other character was me. And so I'd be having an argument with myself
Mm-hmm.
in a group setting with other people around. And they all thought this person, and I'd get tells going, she needs to not talk to her that way. I'm like,
You're right, that bitch.
and I'd be like, okay, you need to know something. What? That's me. Who's you?
Both
That
of
way.
them.
Really? Really?
We are
Since when?
Legion.
Like, since 5 years ago when I created her. Are you kidding me? Yeah, good time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But, that's one of those, don't, careful when you talk. I will say one of my biggest regrets is that I accidentally did that, and I was just I was being a douche, and we were role-playing with one person and another one that was kind of, she was nice, but she was kind of annoying, and like, all right, well, we didn't plan on this, we were, so, like, all right, let's go ahead and do this, because she could kind of be, past her, and I accidentally sent it to her. And I felt like such a shit break, and I should have, because that was a shitty thing for me to do, and I realize that now, but that was 8 years ago or more. I've grown since then, mostly on the left and right sides, and not so much, more horizontally than vertically, but I've still grown. That was not me. I did not. I didn't.
I hit my knee on my desk.
Oh, I was gonna say, there's more where that came from, woman. Domestic violence. Don't do it. But yeah, that was. I still feel bad. I don't remember. I think it was like Red Wing or something, which I think is a sports team as well. But anyway,
It is hockey.
But if you're ever listening out there, Red Wing, I'm sorry. I was a douchebag. You're a nice girl. Or boy. I don't really know. You played a girl. So.
Did it have an A at the end?
Yeah.
You never get that one down.
No.
Ever.
And when you start looking at people's names, you'll be back here apologizing.
No,
Yes.
never.
No.
Yes,
No.
Never.
Yes, you will.
Have you met us?
No, actually, I've never met you.
Yes, you have. Just online. Nice try.
Still haven't met you in person, so
Not
count.
yet. We're working on it.
But all right, so what were we talking about? Oh
I
yeah,
think-
halflings and why they suck. No.
No, find your niche.
Yeah. So and
Don't
of course,
be afraid to keep doing what you like.
yeah. So get honest criticism. But there are, for whatever it is you might be coming up with, critical or not, there's so many okay, so between us, is it niche or niche? Because I hear it said both ways all the friggin'
It's
time.
niche.
See, that's what I thought.
But Americans say niche.
Niche.
So,
yeah. See, I always called it
we're
niche.
a bunch of ignorants.
Yeah.
So.
But I heard someone say it recently. It was like niche, and I'm like, well, have I been saying
niche.
it wrong? Okay.
I said niche until I was in my 20s. I had no idea
You
because
were
I was
so
a reader.
ignorant, you dumb
I
American.
was. I had no. I read, and I knew a lot of words from reading, but because of where I grew up, I didn't hear those words. So I was guessing what they really sounded like. And then when I got into my 20s and moved out, I started using the words that I knew and found out I was saying them all wrong. And I felt like such a rude.
It was like the ultimate, and I misheard, like, listening to that song where you don't know what they're saying, like wise men say only fools ride sheep instead of fools ride in. Yeah.
It sounds to me like you guys are being Super Saiyan critical.
Oh my God. In the words of Archer and Bob's Burger, oh my God. Super Saiyan critical. But anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of niches out there for all sorts of different, as long as it's a healthy game, for all sorts of different things, and that's, if you've got a certain way, while some group may not be that for that kind of thing, and they might be a little critical, and you might be, super self-conscious and critical of it yourself, you just got to find the right group, either by going, just, it could be dumb luck. Dumb luck works out most of the time, believe it or not, but you can also go out onto the forums of either the main forums of the game or some sort of roleplay forum, depending on what game you're in. Almost every MMO out there has some sort of, like, RP hub, as we've mentioned before.
I know. I go back to ESO, and that's because I'm in there right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I play an orc character, and there's an orc guild. I'm sure there's more than one. But, there's always a place for a character. I mean, really, you just have to keep looking.
Yeah, like sure.
I want to go check out the orc guild, though.
Yeah, really you should. It's like one of those things with ESO. That's kind of, and the good thing with it is you can have more than just the one guild, so you're not literally married to the one guild. So if one gets slow or there's nothing going on that night, you can do something with the other one, either on that character or on another one, which is a nice thing. First, I wasn't thrilled about that. Well, I'm still not thrilled about it because of the way they do their stupid auction house through guilds, but that's totally different. If it wasn't connected to that, I would be I think the multiple guild thing is cool, and it also gives you the ability to expand, because I've got one character that's really with Jazz in our group from ESO, or not from ESO, but EQ2, and then I've got my other character completely separate on Tarvala, who is completely indoctrinated into the Dunmere Society and the Tribunal and all that stuff, but I can, no matter what character I'm on, I can see what's happening in both guilds, which is cool. So I could, I'm not locked out of one while I'm on one character and have no idea what they're doing. It's kind of cool. And that way I can, be in my niche.
Well, apparently I was incorrect. It's actually pronounced both ways. It's either niche or niche. And niche is the Gaelic way, and the English way is actually niche. So,
well, I think everybody here knows what way we're gonna go with. It's obviously gonna be the Gaelic.
Such a dork.
What? What? What's wrong with saying Gaelic? Gaelic. Gaelic. She had to mute herself. You could probably still hear her coughing behind me.
Right? He's trying to kill me. He's trying to kill me.
She is worth so much in insurance money. I'm just hoping I can make her die of natural causes through laughter. The joy of laughter.
Oh, we've had our moments.
And also cyanide poisoning very slowly over a long period of time. So anyway, niches. Or niches if you're going to say it proper like. But, let's, what we were saying here with the niches, I'm now combining the two words.
Niche.
Niche. It's a nickage. It's a Nikes. So whatever Nike you're in, the worst that happens is you have to abandon the idea. You know, and even that, you've still at least learned something. You know, even in failure, you know, you can find success. You know, if you've never failed at anything, you've probably never learned a whole lot either.
Yeah.
Niches. Yes, seriously. Niches.
Too niche. I don't think that there's a niches. I don't think that's even a word.
What's up, niches?
Dude, stop.
Okay.
You all right there, everybody? All right. Well, my niches get themselves together again.
Dear God.
But you learn, though. So, you know, you don't have to be, you know, super critical for the idea to work, or and it shouldn't keep you from trying new things. And also, kind of lastly here, don't let assholes like myself make fun or tease you out of doing what you like. You know, screw them. Like, I'm not huge on the vampire werewolf thing, and I do tease and I do poke fun at it, and it's what I do. I'm an asshole. I'm Frederick Niches. For those of you that aren't on Discord while we're live, you should be, because it's a thing. Which you can get to at RPMMORadio.com or in our Discord. But anyway, you know, I tease and make fun, but you know, I actually don't mind people. Of course, I don't care what people roleplay. I honestly don't give a shit. You do whatever makes you happy, whatever floats your boat, whatever gets your jollies off, whatever.
Yes, because it's your $15.
Stop.
Whatever pun you want. I actually ran out after those 3.
Okay.
Why, did you have another one? What was it?
No.
No, go ahead. Go. Let's see what.
I didn't. I was saying stop.
Oh man, I was on a roll too. But anyway, so don't let people tease you out of it. It's kind of like
whatever tickles your tummy.
Tickles your tummy. No. Try to keep it at least PG-13. But anyway, it's like I actually had to tell our daughter once. Somebody kind of insulted me. I won't say who. And she let me know about that. It was, we'll say, it was during a snowstorm here, and it was really crappy, but nobody ever uses our sidewalk. And somebody was like, I can't believe they didn't clean the sidewalk off. And she let me know this, and I was like, well, let me ask you this. Did they clean off their sidewalk at their house? No. I was like, that's right. Before you ever get insulted by somebody, look at the origin of the insult and then decide if it's actually worthwhile. You know, it doesn't look at the quality of the person that's doing the insulting before you get all bent out of shape. You know, and a lot of people may think more of themselves than possibly they should. I would know probably more than probably one of those people. But don't ever let someone teasing or making fun of that, don't let that get to you. It's just gonna happen. There's always those assholes. There's always those people out there that are gonna make fun of, you know, werewolf or vampire roleplay or whatever idea you might have, regardless of whatever it might be. You just can't do that. You're well, for one, you're a grown ass adult, and you shouldn't be giving other people shit for something they're enjoying anyway. And 2, you're a grown ass adult, and if some other adult does that, fuck them. You know, I mean, just seriously, don't just let it go off your back. And I know it's easier said than done. I get pissed off at there's certain things that happen in guilds and things that people say, or they're really critical of other people. In fact, it happened earlier in the week, and I wasn't thrilled with the way they were treating other people that were at least trying, and you know, may not even have known what they were doing at the time. But you just gotta let it go, because it's not worth getting that angry. You know, you get passionate in the moment, but you gotta let it go after a while. So, yeah. Anybody got anything else to add?
No. Like I said before, it's your $15 or whatever a month, and you just do what you want to do that makes you happy.
Yeah, I think That is the biggest and most important thing to tell people over and over again. It may not be my cup of tea, and I may not like it, and I may actually say, I would never do that, or I don't like that.
Mm-mm.
But that doesn't mean that I am being critical of you.
Yeah,
and what you're doing. I don't like it, but that doesn't mean that you should stop doing it. And I think a lot of times, particularly for guild leaders, we have to remember that people hear us say, I don't like this, and we'll suddenly erase their characters.
Yeah.
Right.
Or change the entire guild even. Some people, I've seen that happen too.
Yep. Yeah. And it's like, all I was doing was simply stating that I would not do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Well, there was it in Star Wars? It was after, I think it was either before or after. I don't know. Well, you were still in there, but I was looking at some guilds and stuff, and one of them was the way they had it structured. You basically had to start your character, regardless, over from as an apprentice in the Sith, as a Sith, and it's like, well, my character is not an apprentice, and I'm not willing to do that. So instead of throwing hissy fit and demanding that they change their policy, I didn't apply to that guild.
Yeah.
I thought it was, and I personally thought that was a stupid way to do it, because they missed out on a lot of good role players, because not everyone's starting their brand new character and going to be joining a guild if that's the first one they catch, or be willing to, like, I've been role-playing a Darth for a year. I'm going to join this guild, and now I'm bound to an apprentice for some reason, which makes no sense, But that was their guild, and you know what? That's perfectly fine. Temples, servants of the temple that I've joined, they are a Dunmerry guild that's strict on the 3, and a lot of other Dunmerry guilds, they've kind of, over time, they've eroded and collapsed on, they've given in to letting in non-Dunmer and other stuff like that in, and while that's fine and they're perfectly willing to do that, it also, you're bending your guild and your rules to the criticism of other people who are at the time probably weren't even in your guild.
Yeah, and we had the same issue, of course, because we were a Monsters and Men guild, and so we did a lot of non-mortal, or not immortal, which I don't believe really works.
Monster, yeah.
Monster and Men, monsters and mortals. And a lot of people would join knowing that, because we were, as you remember, we were like, we accept every class but one or two, Templar and Paladin.
Yeah, Templar, yeah. And
because
if you were playing
right, you had to be playing.
If you played the class, but your paladin wasn't a paladin, really, that's two different
things. They could be an
yeah.
evil paladin, a fallen paladin. They could not actually be a paladin.
They just like the armor.
Right, you like the armor, you like the class. But if you role played as a paladin, you could not be in the guild unless you wore a collar.
Yeah.
That was
Harm
the
touch.
only way.
Or what was it? Holy touch, holy touch, holy touch.
Because a paladin could basically...
Has anybody seen half the guild, and why is it so dusty in here?
One touch and half the guild is dust. Yeah, so there was a reason why we did that, but we had people that would join us and be like, you need to accept this and this and this. It's like, first of all, no. Second of all, these rules exist for a reason, and if we change that, we change the whole feel of the guild, and we're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always a thing that you have to decide. I mean, there were lots of guilds out there that started off, like you said, like a Dunmer only guild.
Yeah.
But then they erode that, and pretty soon they allow anybody in, and they're not really a Dunmer guild anymore.
Yeah, and the identity is gone.
No, they may have a bigger guild, and they may have more role play in the sense of more role players and more role play stories taking place, but they've lost their theme.
It's a quantity over quality thing.
Right.
Not all cases, but I understand. That's what you're getting, yeah.
We had always, and actually it was you who had said that,
Yeah, never listen to me. I'm terrible.
No, you were right. You were like, it's better to be 12 people that all roleplay the way that we roleplay here, than to have 50 people, half of whom want to change the way the guild is.
My God, I'm smart.
And, and you also helped us integrate in ways to eliminate even bringing people in the first place by having a written process to
Mm-hmm.
test and sift through people who weren't going to fit in.
Wait a minute.
And we got, to this day,
still works.
it still
Are you
works.
telling
I
me-
get gripe from people about it because
Because
they
you make
don't
them
like
go to the
it.
forums and sign up there
Right.
and
Are you
fill out a
telling
small
me
thing.
Ashen's the reason you have forms that you have to fill
Okay.
out? Wait a minute.
Yes, but
Ashen?
she has gone to an extreme with it, I will say. But
Look what
I
you
still
started,
love-
Ashen.
She loves
Look
her
what
forums.
you
Now-
started.
No, you started it. All I did was perfect it. And I didn't do it this
Oh, we've
time
opened a
around.
huge
Yeah.
can of worms here.
Yes, we did, but
Huge.
you got to remember that it fit with the guild, and this guild it doesn't because they're a bunch of outlaws, and outlaws don't fill out forms.
Mhm.
So it's a completely different way of going about it. But
Yeah,
we
well,
still
you could
have
still do it out of
questions and
character.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we still do. We have some things you have to fill out when you
Yeah.
apply to the site. But if people don't want to take part in the site and they don't want to participate in, reading and participating in the guild for whatever reason, that's their choice. But then if they turn around and they come to me and say, well, I don't have any role play, well, see, the role play connection is there and you won't go
Yeah.
there. So I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
There
I feel
are
like
some
I feel like
people,
with Jazz right
but-
now, I gotta do a Bane like, you are only introduced me to the forums, but I perfected it. I
started it. I don't want to hear it.
I was
You were the one.
seethed.
You
I
were the
was
one.
created and molded by the forms. There's my shitty Bane.
Yeah, it was all your fault. So you started it, and
This
you
is good to know.
also got me to back off from it. So you have always been that
I
voice
try.
that helps me to
I'm
refocus.
when you're
critic.
being critical, I will tell you if I think you're going overboard and whether you can take it or leave it. But I'm always gonna be just the same as you do with me and I do with Sib.
Yep.
And believe me, Sib and I are married as she does constantly with me all the time. I mean, my God.
What? Huh? What?
I actually flinched. I heard her moving over there. I had to check behind me. physically flinched. What's that?
All I got is
That's her
chapstick and
hand
padding.
coming at you. That's what it was. Yeah.
Come on, Ike. Don't hit me again.
I got my 20-sided dice, but I'm not throwing that at him.
Yeah, we'll keep
Yep.
that. We have a big like 2-inch thing of like a squeezy foam dice.
I lost it. I cannot find that sucker.
Oh.
It's my grip, my stress thing.
Yeah, we got it in one of those
Stress
loot
dice.
crates a while back, and it's probably the one thing that we got from that before we canceled it that we still use all the time. You can roll it on your desk and it doesn't make that clatter.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just they're being critical and being but it's just one of those things. You got to do it. You have to do that as well as not overdo it. That's the thing. You can't let it paralyze you. You can't let it stop you from
There's a
doing
happy
it.
medium to find.
Yeah, there is always.
For everybody.
Yeah, you just can't let these things paralyze you. But it's like Jazz said, there's you're not gonna. It's not gonna. What you want to do is not. And that's probably gonna be a theme over almost all our shows with roleplay. It's not gonna be for. Just like roleplay itself is not for everybody. And there are people that are super critical of role players. All they do is pound out sex stuff all the time, and the stereotype for that's all that we ever do, which I'd say is only 95% correct. That other 5% though is serious storytelling.
I'm
It's
in that other
lying.
5%. I am in
Actually, it is more. It's actually. I don't know. What would you? Over all the our time of playing, Jazz, what would you say that ratio to ERP and role play? Average like character driven, combat driven role play. I'd say it's like 90.
I'd
say it's 90 to 10 to regular role play, and maybe 10% of people that's just all they're doing is constantly just.
Oh no, it's much higher than that.
You think so?
I put ERP centered and I lump in ERP and relationship centered roleplay kind of together because
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with it. I don't have a problem with it. If that's what you want to do, by all means. But I do not personally consider ERP to be role play.
Yeah.
I just don't. It's fun, but it's not really role play. It's erotic and it's like interactive
See,
porn.
that's why I
but
don't
it's
do
not...
because the relationship stuff can actually advance a story and
Yes, it
character
can.
development. That's why I don't lump them into the same thing. Because there are other people that's all they do.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When I say relationship-based role play, it's like all they do is roll a character, get a relationship, get married, have babies, vanish, wash, rinse, repeat. That's what I call relationship role play.
Oh, yeah.
If you role play, if you really role play, they're going to have relationships, whether it's sexual or asexual. They're going to have role play. They're going to have relationships. So I don't consider that relationship role play. If you want to get married and have a relationship with someone, that's different.
Yeah, like our characters were in that relationship, but that definitely wasn't the... I'd still separate that. Just ERP is just ERP. However they get there, that the majority of time it's type.
I'd say at least half, if not more, of all role play.
You really think it's that high? I think it
really,
also does depend on the game as well, but
no.
Well, no, I mean because depending on the game, that ratio can actually shoot up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay, true. But I'm being nice by saying 50%. I think it's 50 to 70% of all role play is ERP based.
That's just so
think that it is.
If that's what you're into, it's just not my bag, baby.
But when
speaking of super critical, that's me.
I don't have a problem with that. But I would say only 10 to 15% of role players actually are interested in developing a role play story outside of any ERP focused role play. Now there are people who blend it nicely, and there's like 50. Like I said, 50%. I think there's 50% of role players who might blend it in at some point, but it's not their focus. And then you have the people that it's just something that happens and they're good at it and it's fun when there's nothing else to do. I'm okay with that too. I consider the people who are only basically creating interactive porn for themselves to not really be role playing. I'm a snob and I don't deny that.
I will say having learned a lot about this show and using hashtags and stuff on Instagram, if you the hashtag for roleplay is generally not the way we mean it, but I'm still using the damn thing regardless. Yeah, a lot of cat girl on cat girl action there.
Yeah, like that one thing my husband posted to our Facebook group that it said, let's face it, a lot of it is porn and really strange porn too.
Yeah,
about roleplay.
I think I'm a little bit more on the positive. Just given, it just depends on the group you get into with too. That it's the ratios shift a lot, because a lot of the things I've seen, a lot of people I've been meeting, it's really is more like I would, like I was saying, maybe probably not 10 to 90 was probably a little low, but maybe like 30 to 70. But when you get into that crowd, that's really is all you're gonna ever see. It's kind of like, you go to a sports game and there's guys wearing sports stuff everywhere, or you go to a convention and half the people are wearing comic book stuff and the other half are wearing movie stuff.
I think there's definitely a group of people who don't or say they don't, and I've also found that people who are hypercritical about ERP, who say, oh, we would never do that, that's just disgusting, are doing it on the side. So I'm a very cynical person.
Or as we like to call them, liars.
Yes. To me, they're just hypocrites. I think most people that role play, that are into a character and making that character be a three-dimensional person with a life, sex is probably going to be in there somewhere, even if it's fade to black and it never actually is role played out. It's there. And I think some people just have to act it out. And, other people, that's all they live for. And you're never going to get away from that. I think it's the same thing in
And the reason I never would, aside from the fact that I love my wife and I'm just not into it, is the chances are even higher than your 50-50 that it's just a big sweaty dude on the other side.
Not only that, but a lot of times...
Type it for
Stop.
me again, baby.
One-handed typing, yeah. Or as Zot used to say, sticky fingers.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Hold on. I need to tip my fedora and scratch my neck
You know,
beard.
this is a whole nother episode.
Yes, it is. Yeah, this is one we're actually probably more get into a lot later when we have people that we won't horrify and scare away right off the bat. But, you know, and again, you know, being going to the topic, everything, you know, everyone critiques everything, everyone discerns, everyone judges stuff. It's just part of being human. You know, you look at something, you're just going, you have an opinion. You know, they're like assholes. We all have one.
Oh, yes.
You know, some are stinkier than others, but, you know, we all have one.
So gross.
I was talking about opinions. What were you going after? You're just a bad person, really.
I really am.
But all right. So go ahead and wrap the show up here. I think basically to sum it all up, you know, try not to overthink stuff. Don't be so hard on yourself that you stunt your own growth, you stunt your own fun. You know, that's what you're here for. You just roll the dice, see what comes of it, and if it doesn't work out, you know, you can either re-roll the same character or just kind of switch it up and change things as you need. It's not that big a deal. You can always start over again. You know, especially as long as you're enjoying the game.
Mhm.
But so, all right. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in live that did, and anybody else that might listen to the podcast either at Podbean or iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play is the other good one. You know, of course, if anybody has anything they'd like to say, they can always join us on our Discord, which you can get to at rpmmoradio.com or rpmmoradio@gmail.com if you want to just email straight to us. Make sure you join our Instagram if you want to be kept up to date and maybe get a laugh or a chuckle every now and then. I'm trying to keep up with that about once every day if I can find enough photos and think of funny shit to say. And, you know, of course, always join us here live at Twitch TV or twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. Go ahead and give us a like, give us a subscribe. That way you will be informed. I have recently learned that I can actually schedule when we're going to do a show, and it will let you know an hour beforehand instead of as I hit the go live button. So hopefully that will work out. So that's pretty much it. This will be episode 8. Super critical, and you know,
Super Saiyan critical. I had to throw it in there.
Super Saiyan critical, yes, you always do. But so I want to thank my two hosts, Sisses, Sib, and Jazz for joining me, as you guys always do. I know it's a little rough being here this late at night, and hopefully from here on out, now that school and stuff is over and our lives can get back to normal, we will start doing this at 6 and 7. And appreciate you guys tuning in. So just join us next time.
Thank you for tuning in.
Tune in next time as we talk about big toenail clippers and the halfling stranglehold on the industry. Next time on RPMMO Radio. And the thoughts and opinions of RPMMO Radio are just that, our opinions, and should not be taken as the gospel truth, but, you know, probably pretty close to it. Music is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/huskybythegeek, for all his great rock covers of video game and other music. He is fantastic, and we appreciate him letting us use that. Unite, and have a good day, everybody.